Chapter 49-26. In the beginning, Bailey Hongzhuang did not think of this possibility. Because to become a ghost cultivator, one needed a certain amount of opportunity. However, when she recalled everything that had happened, she suddenly thought of this possibility. Based on the current situation, this was clearly the most likely possibility. If that's the case, isn't the soul of the heretic cultivator that had attached itself to Jun Lingxuan's body extremely similar to this ghost cultivator? Di Beichen could not help but ask. That heretic cultivator's cultivation method was obviously extremely vicious. He used the blood essence of others to increase his own strength. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. That's right. However, if that heretic cultivator wants to become a ghost cultivator, he needs to find a suitable place for him to cultivate. Otherwise, without a suitable environment, his soul will gradually perish. Usually, ghost cultivators stay in places that are more gloomy and dark. However, this ghost cultivator's place is luxurious and majestic. It's completely different from the usual situation. Thinking about it, he should have a pretty good opportunity. It was precisely because this environment was completely different from the usual ghost cultivators that she did not think about this previously. I see. Originally, everyone didn't understand the reason, but after hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's explanation, they suddenly understood. However, once they understood, they sighed even more deeply in their hearts. Hongzhuang, you're too amazing. You even know about this kind of thing? Lin Qianshan looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in surprise. I don't think you're from the lower realm. Instead, you seem to be from a higher realm than us. The things you know are not any less than us. In fact, you know more. Young madam is really experienced and knowledgeable. Di Xiaofeng's eyes shone brightly. Sister-in-law is not an ordinary person. How can ordinary cultivators be as talented as her? That's true. Where should we continue to head now? Daiheowen's voice slowly rang out. It's also our first time in the Immortal Cloud secret realm. We don't know which direction we should head in to reap more rewards. I think we should just take one step at a time. Anyway, this place was just a coincidence. Di Xiaofeng's eyes were filled with thoughts. Ao Lingxiao's current situation is very dangerous. We should think of a way to find him as soon as possible. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with worry. That's right. We should find Ao Lingxiao as soon as possible. We haven't met any cultivators from the Ao clan. Who knows, they might have gone to look for him. The other cultivators didn't have any objections to this. They just sped up and looked for Ao Lingxiao's figure on the way. There seems to be an abyss in front of them. Suddenly, a surprised voice sounded, attracting the attention of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others. Hearing this voice, everyone's the voice of the Immortal Cloud secret. Sure enough, a huge gully that penetrated the ground appeared not far ahead. It split the entire ground into two and exuded an endless aura of danger. Hongzhuang Ao of the world of the immortal of the great of Bailey Hongzhuang's black eyes were filled with astonishment. Based on the surrounding situation, she could determine how long the abyss had existed. However, after seeing the abyss, Di Xiaofeng and the rest's eyes lit up. Chapter 49-27. Have you heard of this abyss? Di Beichen raised his eyebrows and his eyes lit up before dimming again. Lin Taxing nodded. I've heard of the existence of this abyss. I've heard that this abyss has existed for many years and the elemental energy inside is extremely rich. It's very suitable for cultivators to cultivate. Furthermore, perhaps there'll be treasures inside. That's right. I've been hoping to find this abyss before entering the Immortal Cloud secret realm. I didn't expect to find it. Lin Qianshan's face lit up with joy. She quickened her pace and quickly approached the abyss. Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest were not slow either. They quickly approached the abyss. When they got closer, they saw that the abyss was pitch black. They could not even see their own fingers and could not see the situation inside. A gust of wind swept up from the abyss, bringing with it an eerie chill. It was mysterious and dangerous. Shall we go down and take a look? Di Xiaofeng asked tentatively. The other cultivators nodded their heads in agreement when they heard that. They had all heard of the existence of this abyss. Since they were already here, how could they not go in? Seeing that everyone was in agreement, they no longer hesitated and immediately walked into the abyss. This was a huge gully, and everyone could only use climbing methods to slowly descend. Elemental energy adhered to their hands and feet, increasing the friction on their hands and feet so that they could hold onto the stone wall and slowly descend. It was pitch black. Coupled with the gust of wind that constantly swept over, it was useless even if they lit a fire. Bailey Hongzhuang condensed her elemental energy in her hands and the light attribute was instantly unleashed. The elemental energy in her hands bloomed with a gentle and bright light. It was like a luminous pearl, illuminating the surrounding environment. As the light lit up, everyone could see their surroundings clearly. I didn't expect that the deeper we go, the wider the gully becomes. Di Xiaofeng was surprised. He had thought that the gully would become narrower the deeper they went, so he was a little worried. However, based on the current situation, there would be a very wide path below. This reduced his worries by a lot. It seems that the news we heard before was not wrong. There may be treasures in this gully. The corners of Lin Chanshan's lips curled up into a smile. Then, a trace of sadness appeared in her eyes. Previously, Yi had always hoped that she would be able to find the existence of this abyss after entering the Immortal Cloud's secret realm. However, until now, I still haven't been able to find Yi. I wonder how she is now. She and Yi had grown up together and were blood-related sisters, so their relationship was naturally very good. She had hoped to meet up with Yi as soon as she entered, but now that so many of them had gathered together and she had not seen Yi, she was a little worried. Hearing this, everyone's heart sank. Don't worry, Yi is so smart. Nothing will happen to her. Lin Taxing comforted, maybe Yi is gathering with other disciples. After all, we haven't been here for long and there are many people scattered in other places. Lin Chanshan nodded slightly. I hope so. As everyone went deeper in, Bailey Hongzhuang could clearly feel that the surrounding essence energy was getting denser. Staying in this environment, even if one did not cultivate, there would be endless origin energy entering one's body to strengthen one's body. Chapter 49-28. Speaking of this abyss, I think of the Bitter Sea Abyss. Mo Yunjua's black eyes flashed with a hint of contemplation. When they were in the lower realm, they had been to the Bloodland Abyss and the Demonic Abyss, but there was no news about the Bitter Sea Abyss. Thinking back, he had heard from the senior that no one knew where the Bitter Sea Abyss was. Now that they knew there was an upper realm, perhaps the Bitter Sea Abyss was here. In this way, everything could be explained. Hearing Mo Yunjua's words, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen's eyes lit up. The Bitter Sea Abyss was also a place they wanted to go. Big brother, do you know where the Bitter Sea Abyss is? Di Beichen asked. Di Xiaofeng shook his head. I have heard of the Bitter Sea Abyss, but no one knows where it is. That's right. From the ancient books, we know that the Bitter Sea Abyss is a treasure land, but as far as I know, no one knows where it is. Maybe it doesn't exist at all. Lin Taxing raised his eyebrows. There was a hint of helplessness between his brows, and a trace of curiosity flashed in his eyes. I heard that the Bloodland Abyss and the Demonic Abyss are both in the lower realm. Have you been there? Yes, I heard that the Bloodland Abyss and the Demonic Abyss are very beneficial to cultivators. Once you succeed, you will gain an aura field and improve your combat strength. Lin Chanshan's face was filled with excitement, and then she helplessly drooped her head. It's a pity that we can't go. We only know about it from the ancient books. It's really depressing. We've all been there. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly, but there was doubt in her eyes. Why can't you go? Whether it was the Bloodland Abyss or the Demonic Abyss, they were excellent places for cultivators to gain experience. Logically speaking, these two places should be more suitable for cultivators from the upper realm. If these two places were in the upper realm, the number of successful cultivators would increase by a lot. In fact, cultivators from the upper realm would also go in the beginning, but you also know the difference in strength between the upper realm and the lower realm. Moreover, most of the genius cultivators were young and full of vigor. After going to the lower realms, they would become overlords, suppressing the development of the cultivators in the lower realms. Not only that, but it also caused quite a bit of trouble back then. In the end, all the major forces decided to manage the passage between the two places. Ordinary cultivators are not allowed to enter the lower realm at all. Naturally, we don't have the chance to go. Lin Chanshan's pretty face was full of distress and unwillingness. There's a chance I really want to see the two abysses. Unfortunately, I've already missed the time to break through. I'm destined to never have the chance in this lifetime. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others finally understood. But wouldn't that be unfair to you? That can't be helped. Daiheoan chuckled. Although losing the two abysses will cause a certain loss to the upper realm, if the people from the upper realm go to the lower realm will suffer an even greater loss. Comparing the two, this method was naturally more suitable. After all, the cultivators of the lower realms also need space to develop. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded lightly. She had a deep understanding of this point. Just like how the cultivators of Penglai Island would not easily go to the outside world, it was also because of this point. Chapter 49-29. By the way, Hongzhuang, since you've gone to the two abyss, can you tell me about the situation inside? Is it really the same as described in the ancient books? Lin Chanshan's eyes were filled with excitement and curiosity. Although there were many things in the upper realm that the lower realm could not compare to, they could not compare to the lower realm in this aspect. Bailey Hongzhuang roughly explained the situation in the two abyss. Daiheoan and the other disciples of the two families also pricked up their ears and listened attentively. They were also filled with curiosity about this point. So it's really like this. After so many years, it hasn't changed much from what was recorded in the ancient books. Daiheoan said with a smile. Then have you seen the cultivators who obtained the inheritance? Lin Taxing was also interested. I heard that the inheritances of the two abyss are very impressive. I have. Di Beichen's lips curved into a playful smile. Really? Di Xiaofeng was surprised. Are their combat strength powerful? It's all right. You speak so casually. I heard that these two inheritances are very impressive. They are inheritances that even the disciples of the aristocratic families are envious of. Di Xiaofeng glanced at Di Beichen. Are you kidding me? Seeing Di Xiaofeng roll his eyes, Bailey Hongzhuang could not help but chuckle. Di Beichen was simply teasing Di Xiaofeng. Hongzhuang, what are you laughing at? Di Xiaofeng looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in confusion. Why do I see your expression so strange? Far away on the horizon, but close in front of you, Di Beichen said quietly. Di Xiaofeng was slightly taken aback. Before he could understand what this meant, Lin Taxing suddenly widened his eyes. Could it be that one of you obtained the inheritance? Following Lin Taxing's words, Di Xiaofeng and the others all looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and the other two. Is this true? I only obtained the inheritance of the demonic abyss, Mo Yunjue said slowly. Hearing this, Di Xiaofeng and the others all looked at Mo Yunjue in shock and curiosity. I heard that it's not easy to obtain the inheritance. Yunjue, show us the murderous aura field next time. I knew that Yunjue is also a first-rate genius. Looking at everyone's excited eyes, a trace of helplessness appeared in Mo Yunjue's cold eyes. He continued, they are the ones who obtained the two inheritances. The reason he said that he obtained the inheritance of the murderous aura field. Originally, when everyone knew that Mo Yunjue had obtained the murderous aura inheritance, they were already very surprised. According to their understanding, it was not an easy task to obtain this inheritance. Even they may not have the confidence to succeed. Mo Yunjue could succeed, which meant that he was a genius cultivator with unlimited potential. However, when they heard Mo Yunjue say that Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang obtained the two inheritances, their eyes widened and their faces were filled with disbelief. No way? The three of you all passed? Di Xiaofeng said in astonishment. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. Since they returned to the Di family, they had not fought with anyone. It was not strange that Di Xiaofeng and the others did not know. That's right. Di Beichen smiled faintly. Chapter 49-30. It seems that we may have misunderstood the inheritance of the two abysses. Di Xiaofeng pondered. Hearing this, Lin Chanshan looked puzzled. What misunderstanding? This inheritance must be very easy to obtain. Look, even Beichen obtained it. Must be very simple. Di Xiaofeng spread out his hands, looking as if that was how it should be. Ahem. Di Beichen coughed softly, his handsome face full of helplessness. Everyone could not help but laugh when they saw this. They naturally understood that Di Xiaofeng was just deliberately teasing Di Beichen. In that case, the upper realm does not have the bitter sea abyss? Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. I always feel that since there is such a saying, the bitter sea abyss should exist. She believed that the ancient books would not casually record it. Since such a saying had been circulating for a long time, it proved that it did exist. However, this saying also revealed one thing. The existence of the bitter sea abyss was very secretive and almost no one knew of its existence. According to her thoughts, those cultivators who had reached the bitter sea abyss were just lucky enough to encounter it. The journey must be very difficult to remember, or it might change from time to time. It was precisely because of this that the bitter sea abyss was an existence that everyone could not find. She had already been to two of the three abysses and obtained the inheritance. If possible, she also hoped to find the bitter sea abyss. Actually, I also think it should exist, but so many years have passed and no one knows where it is. Lin Taxing's handsome face was full of contemplation. According to this saying, the existence of the bitter sea abyss should be extremely secretive. Since this abyss is called the bitter sea abyss, could it be in the sea? Lin Chanshan was obviously very interested in this unknown matter. Is there a sea area called the bitter sea? Everyone looked at each other. Obviously, no one had heard of the existence of the Bitter Sea. I hope there will be a chance to find it in the future. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. No one could say for sure what would happen in life. Since this place existed, perhaps they would see it in the future. Soon, everyone arrived at the bottom of the abyss. Standing on the ground, everyone quickly found a passage in front of them. The ground is very flat and not full of potholes. This is really amazing. Yeah, I thought that the environment at the bottom of the abyss would be terrible, but it seems to be pretty good. The cultivators from the Lin family and the D family were all overjoyed as they chatted with each other. The two families had been friends for generations, so they were basically very familiar with each other. They were like a family, and there was no sense of unfamiliarity or distance between them. Listen, there seems to be the sound of flowing water in front of us, Lin Chanchan suddenly said. Everyone quieted down and listened carefully to the voice coming from the front. A trace of surprise appeared in their eyes. Really? There really is the sound of flowing water. This is the bottom of the abyss, yet there is still the sound of flowing water. How miraculous. Let's go and take a look. After discovering that there was no danger in the surroundings, everyone's courage increased. They only wanted to explore this place that they had been curious about for a long time. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked at each other and immediately quickened their pace, quickly moving forward. Chapter 49:31. Daiheoan and the rest were walking at the front. Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly noticed that the group of people in front of her had stopped in their tracks and were looking ahead. She couldn't help but feel astonished. Let's go take a look. Di Beichen's lips curled into a faint smile as he pulled Bailey Hongzhuang's delicate hand and walked forward. The bottom of the abyss was extremely wide and could accommodate dozens of people walking side by side. Therefore, Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest of the group walked through the abyss. When they arrived, they followed everyone's gaze and looked over. Immediately, a trace of shock appeared on their faces. If I'm not mistaken, this should be an immortal spiritual herb, right? Lin Chanchan raised her voice in disbelief and ecstasy. That's right. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. This is an immortal spiritual herb. As an alchemist, she had the best understanding of medicinal herbs and could tell at first glance that this was an immortal spiritual herb. Such a large area of immortal spiritual herbs, how many are there? Lin Taxing couldn't help but exclaim with his mouth agape. This was a rare treasure. Normally, an immortal spiritual herb would fetch a sky-high price and no one would be willing to sell it. Yet there are so many immortal spiritual herbs here. This is too scary. For a moment, the crowd couldn't help but rub their eyes, thinking that they were seeing things. Bailey Hongzhuang's heart was also filled with shock. An immortal spiritual herb was a rare spiritual herb. Its growth requirements were very high. It needed to grow in a place with extremely dense elemental energy and a water source nearby. Most importantly, it liked to live in cracks in the ground. Usually, such an environment was very difficult to find. In the past, there were people who wanted to cultivate immortal spiritual herbs, but the success rate was very low. Coupled with the fact that it grew for a long time, it was already very difficult. Most importantly, immortal spiritual herbs grew in midair and could change their location at any time. As a result, it was even more difficult to cultivate them. Therefore, everyone understood that immortal spiritual herbs were treasures that could only be found by chance. The effects of such treasures were also very shocking. It could increase a cultivator's aptitude to a certain extent. Generally speaking, from the moment a cultivator was born, their aptitude was already determined and couldn't be changed. However, immortal spiritual herbs were the only treasures that could change one's aptitude. As the chances of finding immortal spiritual herbs were too low, everyone assumed that aptitude couldn't be changed. However, such a large area of immortal spiritual herbs had now appeared in front of them. This was simply too crazy. Let's hurry and collect these immortal spiritual herbs. Di Xiaofeng shouted as soon as he reacted. Hearing Emperor Xiaofeng's words, everyone who was immersed in shock came back to their senses and immediately rushed up. If they didn't collect such treasures, they would really deserve to die. As long as they were refined into pills, the effect would, bye. After everyone had finished harvesting, they continued to move forward. But this time, there's bye. Chapter 49:32. Hearing Lin Chanchan's words, Di Xiaofeng and the others were all smiles. I'm afraid there aren't many forces that can compare with us. Lin Taxing smiled. We're just lucky. The heavens are still on our side. Di Xiaofeng smiled handsomely. If I had known, I wouldn't have wasted my time in the ruins. Hongzhuang, your alchemy skills are so amazing. When the time comes, I'll give these divine spiritual herbs to you. You'll be able to bring out the best effects after refining them into pills. Lin Qianqian smiled at Bailey Hongzhuang. After the trip to the ruins, her relationship with Bailey Hongzhuang had quickly become closer. She now regarded Bailey Hongzhuang as a good sister and did not have any scruples when speaking to her. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. Okay. Immortal spiritual herbs were very precious. She also knew the pill formula for refining immortal spiritual herbs. However, the level of this pill was very high and she still needed to make some progress. Look, it seems like someone used to live here. Daiheoan slowly said after examining the environment in front of them. Only then did everyone realize that the abyss was like a cave and there were several paths in front. Most importantly, they saw the existence of a stone room. As expected, Bailey Hongzhuang was surprised. I didn't expect there to be such a setup in the abyss. How shocking. Who do you think would live here? Di Xiaofeng raised his eyebrows. Didn't they say that it's impossible to leave after staying in the Immortal Cloud secret realm for more than a year? Then who would choose to live here? Could it be that someone has been staying in the Immortal Cloud secret realm all this time? That's not impossible. Di Beichen pondered. Actually, there's plenty of elemental energy here. It's very suitable for cultivators to live here. Mo Yunjue also spoke up. Let's go ahead and take a look. Lin Taxing's eyes sparkled with curiosity and his expression turned serious. We have to be careful. If the person who lives here is still here, then we'll be plucking their immortal spirit grass. I hope we won't anger them. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's expression turned grave. Indeed, with such a huge patch of immortal herbs, it was very strange that no one was plucking them. If that's the case, wouldn't we be in trouble? Lin Qianqian asked. Why don't we leave now? After all, they had already gained a lot. Even if they left now, there was nothing to regret. Hearing this, hesitation appeared in everyone's eyes. How about we just leave like this? Emperor Xiaofeng couldn't help but ask. He was very clear about the importance of these immortal herbs to the clan. As long as he could bring these immortal spirit herbs back, it would only be a matter of time before the disciples of the clan would have their aptitudes raised and surpass the cultivators of the other clans. Everything in front of them was still unclear. If they were to lose their lives here, that would be the worst thing that could happen. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen looked at each other. This method was very reliable and wasn't a bad decision. However, just as everyone was hesitating whether to leave or not, they suddenly heard a familiar voice from inside. Ao Zhengquang, you shameless villain. Chapter 49-33. Listen, that seems to be Yi's voice. Lin Qianqian's expression froze, then an anxious look appeared. Yes, it seems to be Yi's voice. Why is Yi here? I seem to hear her scolding Ao Zhengquang. Lin Taxing's face also showed a worried expression. Yi was his cousin. The relationship between the two was also very close. After hearing Yi's voice, Di Xiaofeng's expression was also a little nervous. Although he couldn't respond to Yi's feelings for him, in his heart, Yi had always been his most concerned cousin. If something happened to Yi, he would definitely be extremely anxious. Let's go and take a look. The original worry about the owner of this place was thrown away by everyone in an instant. Thinking that Lin Yi might be in danger inside, everyone rushed in immediately. Everyone couldn't help praying in their hearts, only hoping that Lin Yi would be fine. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen also exerted their speed to the extreme and rushed over immediately. When they arrived, they found that Lin Yi's clothes were stained with blood. Beside her, Ao Lingxiao was seriously injured and fell to the ground. His clothes were completely dyed red with blood. Lingxiao. A worried voice sounded, and Bailey Hongzhuang and the others quickly came to the two people's side. How are you? Are you okay? After Lin Yi saw Bailey Hongzhuang and others appear, a trace of blood appeared on her pale face. Lin Qianqian took Lin Yi's hands and supported her to prevent her from falling. Yi, what's going on? Lin Qianqian's eyes were full of worry and anger. Who hurt you like this? Ao Zhengquang. Lin Yi saw Lin Qianqian as if she saw her backbone. Ao Zhengquang, Jun Lingshuan, they are all here. Lin Qianqian quickly took out the medicinal pill and fed it to Lin Yi, then asked, where are they now? They heard you coming just now, so they quickly escaped. You go and chase them. They're just ahead. After hearing Lin Yi's words, Emperor Xiaofeng and Lin Taxing nodded and immediately led other cultivators to chase forward. This damn Jun Lingshuan, I will not let him escape this time. The Jun family has done so many outrageous things to us over the years. This time we'll kill Jun Lingshuan first as interest. That Ao Zhengquang is also not a good person. He actually killed his father and mother in order to become the head of the family. After relying on the Jun family, he completely betrayed us. This time I'll kill him as well to save myself the trouble. Regardless of whether it was the Lin clan or the D clan, the cultivators were already filled with rage over this matter. Before they entered the Immortal Cloud secret realm, they had already wanted to kill these few fellows to vent their anger. Now that these fellows had gathered together, they naturally wouldn't let them go. What's more, these damn guys actually seriously injured Lin Yi and Ao Lingxiao. This was something that they couldn't forgive. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the seriously injured Ao Lingxiao, and her face became extremely ugly. In her sight, Ao Lingxiao's chest was directly cut open, revealing a large piece of flesh. Even the internal organs were faintly visible. Blood was left all over the ground. How tragic it looked. After seeing this situation, Di Beichen's heart was filled with shock. Chapter 49-34. How did Ling Xiao get hurt so badly? Bailey Hongzhuang's face was extremely ugly. With such injuries, if they came a step later, he would have died. It's all because of Ao Zhengquang. Lin Yi's pretty face was full of anger. He is simply a bastard. He only wants to kill Ao Lingxiao. Not only that, but he also humiliated Ao Lingxiao. He is really hateful. Listening to Lin Yi's words, although Bailey Hongzhuang and others did not see the scene with their own eyes, they understood in their hearts that Ao Zhengquang must have been pressuring Ling Xiao. That guy even killed his parents. It's not surprising that he did such a thing. Lin Chanshan snorted coldly. Her clear eyes were full of disgust. Second cousin-in-law, look at Ao Lingxiao's situation. Can he be saved? Lin Yi's small face was pale. Her clear black and white eyes were full of worry and tension. She didn't want anything to happen to Ao Lingxiao. Bailey Hongzhuang squatted down and carefully checked Ao Lingxiao's situation. After that, she quickly fed the elixir into his mouth. Lingxiao, how are you? Bailey Hongzhuang tried to call out. Ao Lingxiao's eyes were a little unfocused at this moment. He was close to a coma. Hongzhuang. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's voice, Ao Lingxiao forced himself to open his eyes. His gaze focused again, but his face was pale and bloodless. Even his words were barely audible. Seeing that Ao Lingxiao could still answer her, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes lit up. She comforted in a gentle voice, "Don't worry. You will be fine. I will definitely cure you. Everyone will definitely catch Ao Zhengquang." Ao Lingxiao forced the corner of his mouth to open. He spat out two words with difficulty, Thank you. As soon as his voice fell, he couldn't bear it anymore and fell into a coma. Seeing this, everyone couldn't help but show a hint of nervousness on their faces. He is in a coma. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. It's okay. His injury is really serious. I'm afraid he needs to recuperate here for a while, but his life will not be in danger. This injury looked extremely frightening, but as a doctor, she knew that it wasn't to the point of being incurable. Hearing this, everyone was relieved. Speaking of which, if Ao Zhengquang hadn't wasted time humiliating Ao Lingxiao, I'm afraid now. Lin Yi's voice paused and everyone immediately understood. Regarding this point, they really didn't know whether to say it was good or bad. Needless to say, one could roughly guess how Ao Zhengquang had humiliated Ao Lingxiao. He must have been in a lot of pain before. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang did not delay and immediately began to treat Ao Lingxiao. If the bleeding was not stopped in time, it would be very troublesome. I think this Ao Zhengquang is really crazy. No matter what, Ao Lingxiao is his younger brother. I didn't expect him to go this far. Lin Chanshan's eyebrows were filled with disgust and regret. That was a blood relationship. As someone who also had a younger sister, she couldn't imagine how someone could do such a thing to a family member. He can't be called a human anymore. He is simply a beast. Mo Yunjua's black eyes were filled with coldness. It was as cold as winter without the slightest bit of warmth. He had been with Ao Lingxiao for so long. Even though he never said anything on the surface, he had already regarded Ao Lingxiao as a brother in his heart. Chapter 49-35. What was the situation before? Why don't you tell us in detail? Lin Chanshan helped Lin Yi to sit down on the side. After noticing that the latter's condition was fine, she asked. When I passed by here before, I saw this abyss. I remembered the abyss I had heard before, so I came down. After I came in, I saw the immortal spirit grass outside. At that time, I wanted to pick the immortal spirit grass, but I suddenly heard some movement inside and I heard the name Ao Lingxiao. Out of curiosity, I got closer. As a result, I found that Jun Lingxuan, Xiao Sou Ao Zhengquang, and a group of cultivators of the Ao family were all here. They seemed to have chased Ao Lingxiao all the way here, but there were more of them after Ao Lingxiao went in, so they didn't know where Ao Lingxiao was. I have tried my best to minimize the movement, but I didn't expect to be discovered by them. They wanted to kill me. Lin Yi's face was pale. She seemed to recall the scenes that happened before, but she still had a lingering fear. I'm no match for them alone. Ao Lingxiao only came out to protect me. Yemo sighed. If it weren't for me, he wouldn't have suffered such a serious injury. It's all my fault. Lin Yi's eyes were misty. Her sobbing appearance was very distressing. This is something that no one expected. Don't blame yourself. Lin Shanshan comforted. She knew Lin Yi's character very well. Although she was always a bit impudent, she was kind-hearted. This time Ao Zhengquang was implicated. She must be very upset. No. Lin Yi shook her head. It's all my fault. If I wasn't discovered by them, Ao Lingxiao would be able to leave. The next moment, Lin Yi raised her head and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, second cousin-in-law. You must cure him. I will take good care of him. In the future, I will also take part in his revenge. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang was slightly taken aback. She immediately raised a faint smile and nodded, okay. Lin Shanshan also nodded. When I first learned that he was Ao Lingxiao, I still had some doubts in my heart. However, from this incident, it was clear that he was a good person. If he could really kill his parents, he wouldn't have stood out to save you in such a dangerous situation. No one was stupid. In such a dangerous situation, Ao Lingxiao couldn't have been acting. This action was enough to prove his character. If he is your benefactor, then he is our benefactor. This Ao Zhengquang is so hateful, we must kill him to vent our hatred. Big sister, thank you. Seeing Lin Shanshan so supportive of her idea, Lin Yi also showed a smile on her face. On the other side, Ao Zhengquang retreated with Jun Lingxuan and Xiao Sou, but there was a puzzled look on his face. Young Master Jun, why do we have to leave? Even if it's a head-on battle, we won't be afraid of them. Moreover, there are so many immortal herbs outside. It would be a pity if we just gave up like this. Ao Zhengquang's face was filled with unwillingness. His heart trembled when he thought of the large amount of immortal spirit grass. Chapter 49-36. Listening to Ao Zhengquang's words, Jun Lingxuan and Xiao Sou looked a little helpless. In fact, since the last time they fought with Bailey Hongzhuang, they had a shadow in their hearts. Just Bailey Hongzhuang could make them so embarrassed. Coupled with Di Beichen and others, they knew what the situation would be like without thinking. Therefore, when they knew that Bailey Hongzhuang and others were approaching, their first thought was to leave quickly. Only in this way it was the safest. However, in the face of Ao Zhengquang's inquiry, they obviously couldn't say their inner thoughts directly. They could only find other reasons. From their footsteps, we can judge that the number of people exceeds us. Di Xiaofeng and others are there. It is disadvantageous for us to fight head-on. Jun Lingxuan's face was calm. His eyebrows were full of seriousness. Hearing this, Ao Zhengquang understood and nodded, so that's the case. But it's a pity for us to leave like this. Those immortal spirit grasses are of great help to us. Moreover, Ao Lingxiao doesn't seem to be dead yet. Ao Zhengquang's eyes were full of depression. He was so close to killing Ao Lingxiao directly. However, it was just for a moment that he didn't succeed. He was looking forward to killing Ao Lingxiao every day. In this way, the truth would be buried forever, and there would never be a day when it would be revealed. Jun Lingxuan glanced at Ao Zhengquang. His handsome face was displeased. I asked you to solve it cleanly before, but you wasted time. If you didn't waste time humiliating him, not only Ao Lingxiao but Lin Yi would be dead now. Speaking of this, Jun Lingxuan's eyes also showed a trace of ruthlessness. Jun Shitao died in the hands of Bailey Hongzhuang and others. He had already made an oath to avenge Jun Shitao. If they killed Lin Yi, at least they could get some interest. Now, although the two were seriously injured, they could recover again after a while. How could he vent the resentment in his heart? After being reprimanded by Jun Lingxuan, Ao Zhengquang suddenly drooped his head and didn't dare to say anything more. Don't worry now. Although this immortal spirit grasses fell into their hands, we are still in the immortal cloud secret realm. We still have many opportunities to snatch this immortal spirit grasses back. Xiao Sou's voice was gentle. Her delicate little face had a soft smile. The most important thing now is to meet up with our family's cultivators. Once we meet up, we don't have to be afraid of them. Jun Lingshuan nodded slightly. In my opinion, we should be able to meet our family's cultivators soon. Of Jun Lingshuan. Regarding this, they also felt extremely helpless. After using the escape talisman previously, they appeared in a random place. Although they didn't know where it was, they knew that it was far away. After that, they kept approaching the center, but they didn't meet the Jun family and Xiao family's cultivators for a long time. Fortunately, they met Ao Zhengquang and others when they approached the abyss. It happened that Ao Zhengquang and others were chasing Ao Lingxiao, so they joined in. However, they didn't expect things to be so coincidental. Bailey Hongzhuang and others also appeared here, complicating the situation. Quick! They should be in front. Chapter 49-37. Di Xiaofeng's eyes were filled with disgust and hatred. The grudge between him and Jun Lingshuan had been going on for a long time. For so many years, both sides had always disliked each other. They just wanted to find an opportunity to get rid of each other. Unfortunately, there had never been a good opportunity. This time, Jun Lingshuan dared to seriously injure Lin Yi. He must kill this guy. The cultivators of the Di family and the Lin family were also angry. It had become normal for the two sides to be at each other's throats. But this time Yi Shiwen injured their people. He must pay the price. Jun Lingshuan and others were talking, thinking about how to find an opportunity to get the immortal spirit grass back. Suddenly they heard the movement from behind. A hint of nervousness appeared on everyone's faces. Damn it! Those guys are catching up. Jun Lingshuan cursed. Ao Zhengquang's expression was tense and anxious. There are a lot of footsteps. I'm afraid there are more people than us. Let's go. Once they catch up with us, it will be troublesome. Xiao Sou's face also showed a worried expression. Both sides were now in a situation where one of them had to die. Once Di Xiaofeng and others caught up with them, they would definitely leave all of them here. There are a few forks in front. Let's run there and spread out. Don't be caught by them. Jun Lingshuan looked at the intersection ahead and said. Along the way they had gained a better understanding of the environment. There were many caves here and many of them were connected to each other. In short, this was a very suitable place for hide and seek. Coupled with the dark environment here, it was not so easy to find a person. It was precisely because of this environment that they couldn't find Ao Lingxiao's figure before. They just didn't expect the situation to change in a short time. As Jun Lingshuan's voice fell, Ao Zhengquang and the others did not dare to delay. Their figures quickly swept out and scuttled into the fork road. When Di Xiaofeng and the others caught up, they saw the fork in the road ahead. He immediately frowned. This environment really isn't suitable for chasing people. Looks like we have to split up. Lin taking nodded slightly. Then let's go this way. Then I'll go this way. Di Xiaofeng looked at another intersection and said. I'll take the third fork, Dai Haoan said. Soon the crowd split into several groups and chased inside. Xiao Sou and Jun Lingshuan were walking on the same path. Both of them were rushing inside at their fastest speed. I wonder where this place is. I didn't expect this road to be so long. Xiao Sou looked at her surroundings with surprise in her eyes. When she first entered this abyss, she was very surprised by the environment below. Now, the deeper she went, the more mysterious she felt the situation was. The sound of flowing water ahead is getting clearer and clearer. It might be an underground river, Jun Lingshuan said thoughtfully. Then do we still go there? Xiao Sou looked worried. If there's no way out, then we'll be caught by Bailey Hongzhuang and others sooner or later. Now she didn't have an escape talisman in her hand. Once they were caught, it would be difficult to escape death. Jun Lingshuan's face was also very ugly. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. This must be the situation now. Chapter 49-38. Xiao Sou originally felt extremely worried, but when she saw Jun Lingshuan's serious side profile, her heart suddenly calmed down a lot. However, Jun Lingshuan, who was thinking of a solution, did not notice the change in Xiao Sou's expression at all. After Bailey Hongzhuang fed Ao Lingxiao the elixir, his physical body gradually showed signs of healing under the effect of the elixir. At the same time, Bailey Hongzhuang also used the healing medicine without hesitation. The silver needles also began to treat the internal injuries. The visible injuries were already very terrible, but the internal injuries were more troublesome. Once the internal injuries were left, Ao Lingxiao's future would be affected. Breaking through the barrier of space was something that all cultivators could not bear. Lin Chanqian and others watched Bailey Hongzhuang busily treating Ao Lingxiao. Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue were very familiar with Bailey Hongzhuang's treatment methods, so they were not surprised. However, it was the first time for Lin Chanqian and Lin Yi to see it. Both of them were amazed. Hongzhuang's medical skills are really not weaker than alchemy. I didn't expect her to be so powerful. Lin Chanqian sighed with a smile. When she first learned that Bailey Hongzhuang cured her aunt, she was also very surprised. Now, looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's smooth movements, she already understood everything. After waiting for so long, I don't know if they have caught up? Lin Yi's injury was not serious. Because of Ao Lingxiao's appearance, Jun Lingxuan and others focused their attention on Ao Lingxiao, so they did not have much time to pay attention to her. It was precisely because of this that she was only initially injured. After taking the elixir, she had recovered a lot. They should be able to catch up. Di Beichen said slowly. Since there are only 7 of them, my elder brother will definitely be able to catch up with them. After all, the Lin family and the Di family had more than 20 cultivators. Even if they stayed here, the number would completely exceed Jun Lingxuan and others. I hope so. A trace of hatred flashed in Lin Yi's eyes. Jun Lingxuan, Xiao Sou and Ao Zhengquang are all cunning people. I only hope that they can be dealt with as soon as possible. Wait patiently. Star and the others will come back after they catch up. You are injured. Star and Xiaofeng want to avenge you. Hearing the name Di Xiaofeng, Lin Yi's eyes flashed dimly. She used to be the happiest when she heard this name Xiaofeng. Although it was just a short period of time, the situation was completely different for her. During this period of time, she had thought about it for a long time. In the end, she decided to completely let go of this matter. Although she couldn't do it in a short time, she believed that she would definitely do it. Noticing the change in Lin Yi's expression, Lin Chanqian felt a little helpless in her heart. It seems that Lin Yi still didn't take it lightly. Bailey Hongzhuang's movements were very fast. After she finished bandaging Ao Lingxiao's wound, she stopped. Wife, when will Lingxiao wake up? Di Beichen asked with concern. I'm afraid he will be unconscious for a while. He should wake up at night. The pitch-black watery eyes rippled with warm light. But his injury is serious. It is not suitable for him to move. I am afraid he will have to stay here for a while. Hearing this, Di Beichen nodded slightly. As long as Lingxiao is fine, we will stay here for a while. Chapter 49-39. Just as Di Beichen and the rest were waiting for the results, a series of footsteps finally came from inside. They're finally back. Lin Chanqian heaved a sigh of relief. I've been waiting for so long and there's still no news. I couldn't help but worry. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled up slightly and her eyes were clear and calm. Now I can rest assured. However, when they saw the situation in front of them, their faces immediately darkened. In their line of sight, Jun Lingxuan was holding Daiheoan hostage. The dagger in his hand was placed horizontally at Daiheoan's neck and there was blood seeping out faintly. Xiao Sou and Ao Zhengquang were walking beside him while Di Xiaofeng and the rest were following behind them with ashen faces. Jun Lingxuan, hurry up and release Haoan. Di Xiaofeng roared. His eyes were like a cold lake in October, cold and filled with killing intent. Hearing this, Jun Lingxuan sneered. As long as you let us leave here, I'll naturally release him. Otherwise, Jun Lingxuan's face became ferocious. Otherwise, we'll perish together with him. You can just wait to collect his corpse. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen couldn't help but look surprised when they saw this situation. Big brother, how did this happen? Di Beichen's obsidian-like eyes were filled with haze. They were less bright and more gloomy. There was a fork in the road ahead, so we split up. We didn't expect to fall into Jun Lingxuan's trap. The people who were traveling with Haoan all died in his hands. When we arrived, he was about to kill Haoan, but when he saw us appear, he held him hostage. Hearing this, Di Beichen and the rest immediately understood. Master, this Jun Lingxuan is really not easy to deal with. Baisher's eyes were filled with disgust and unwillingness. The last time they met, Jun Lingxuan and Xiao Sou were already powerless. They didn't expect an escape talisman to save them. This time, it was a sure-kill situation, but they didn't expect Daiheoan to fall into their hands. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest again, Jun Lingxuan's eyes were filled with murderous intent. Di Beichen, Bailey Hongzhuang, what did you do to Shitao? Jun Lingxuan's eyes were sharp and sinister. He already knew the result in his heart. But if he couldn't confirm it himself, he still wouldn't believe it. Do you think Jun Shitao's alive? Under such circumstances, Di Baichen's voice was cold and indifferent. His handsome face was filled with disdain. It's ridiculous to ask such a question now. After receiving this affirmative answer, Jun Lingshuan's eyes turned red with hatred and murderous intent. He gritted his teeth and said, Di Baichen, I'll definitely kill you to comfort Shitao's soul in heaven. Then I'm afraid you don't have the ability. Di Baichen said casually. A cold smile appeared on his sharp face. Every time we meet, it's so difficult for you to escape. You want to kill me? In your next life. His cold voice was like a glacier in the extreme north. It pierced Jun Lingshuan's heart and made it bleed. Di Baichen, don't be too arrogant. Xiao Sou couldn't help but speak up. Anger appeared on her beautiful white face. You were just lucky these 2 times. The next time we meet, you'll definitely be defeated by us. Chapter 49-40. Bailey Hongzhuang stared mockingly at Xiao Sou. Her peerless face was brimming with a devilish smile. Xiao Sou's fair and pretty face instantly stiffened. Even her earth-shattering fury froze in that instant. She was like a deflated balloon, leaving only defeat and unwillingness. In the past, she had never taken Bailey Hongzhuang seriously. She only felt that this woman from the underworld was not worthy of being her opponent. However, the power that Bailey Hongzhuang had displayed the last time had given her an indescribable sense of defeat. Even now, she still had a lingering fear in her heart when she recalled that battle. Noticing the dejection in Xiao Sou's eyes, Lin Qianqian and the rest were astonished. The usually arrogant Xiao Sou had actually revealed such an expression. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it. It was obvious that Xiao Sou had suffered a great setback in the hands of Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang, I have indeed underestimated you. Xiao Sou's eyes were burning as she stared at Bailey Hongzhuang. Her clear black and white eyes were filled with endless seriousness and persistence. However, this does not mean that I will definitely defeat you in the future. In the past, she had always been arrogant. Even when she had been reprimanded by her father, she still did not take it to heart. She only thought that Bailey Hongzhuang's victory had been due to luck. However, after experiencing the previous incident, her way of thinking had changed. She now regarded Bailey Hongzhuang as an enemy that she must defeat. She wanted to rely on her own strength to completely defeat Bailey Hongzhuang. Noticing Xiao Sou's persistence and ambition, a trace of astonishment flashed across her black eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang did not expect that the previous incident would cause Xiao Sou to suddenly wake up. In the next moment, an enchanting smile bloomed at the corner of Bailey Hongzhuang's mouth, with a little playfulness and a little sarcasm. I'm sorry, but I have a special characteristic. Anyone who loses to me will never have the chance to make a comeback. The slender willow leaf eyebrows were slightly raised. The deep phoenix eyes were blooming with a fierce and intimidating brilliance. Bailey Hongzhuang just stood there calmly, but her momentum was overwhelming. You don't be delusional. Don't be delusional. These words were like a sharp sword, piercing into Xiao Sou's heart fiercely. Facing that pair of bright eyes, the confidence that she had gathered before was shattered in an instant. In the face of the enemy, Bailey Hongzhuang would never be courteous. What's more, this woman, first she wanted to deal with her man, and then she dealt with her family. No matter which point it Xiao has had. Lin Qian, calm as Hongzhuang Zesiv is. They had never seen such a Bailey Hongzhuang. Usually she was gentle and pleasant, and anyone who talked to her would feel like a spring breeze. But it wasn't until this moment that they realized that Bailey Hongzhuang was just being approachable to them. Facing the enemy, she was as sharp as a knife. Just like the cold winter, it was bone-chilling. There was no warmth at all. Second cousin-in-law is really domineering. Lin Yi's cheeks showed a trace of excitement. Her bright eyes flickered with admiration. She suddenly remembered what Bailey Hongzhuang said to Xiao Sou when they were in the underground market. It turned out that from then on, second cousin-in-law had not regarded Xiao Sou as an opponent. Chapter 49-41. Jun Lingshuan looked at the beautiful Bailey Hongzhuang in front of him, and a trace of amazement flashed across his handsome eyes. He suddenly felt that his previous judgment was somewhat wrong. This woman, even if she had no background, was still infinitely beautiful. Xiao Sou looked stunned. The other party's words directly made her speechless. Jun Lingshuan let Howen go. Di Baichen's eyes flashed a trace of sharpness and his low and magnetic voice was filled with endless pressure. Jun Lingshuan unconsciously tightened his grip on the dagger, and increased his strength. Blood immediately dyed the dagger red. Unless you let us go, even if we die, he will have to be our scapegoat. Ao Junquang also said, this Daiheoan is the #1 figure in your D family. Are you going to sacrifice him? Hearing this, Di Beichen frowned. It was not easy to seize this opportunity to capture Jun Lingshuan and the other two, but he did not expect such an unforeseen event to occur. If they directly attacked, it would mean that they had given up on Daiheoan. It was impossible for them to do such a thing. Di Xiaofeng's expression was very ugly. Long before they entered the Immortal Cloud's secret realm, they had already set their target. As long as they found the opportunity, they would definitely get rid of Jun Lingshuan. Now that Jun Zitao had been dealt with, it would not be enough if Jun Lingshuan did not die. You don't have to worry about me. It's no big deal if I die. We must not let them go. Daiheoan's face suddenly showed a trace of fearless heroism and determination. In the next second he directly stepped forward, intending to commit suicide. Seeing this scene, everyone could not help but be stunned. They did not expect Daiheoan to make such a decision. Jun Lingshuan was obviously shocked by Daiheoan's actions, but he still held on tightly to Daiheoan, not letting him succeed in killing himself. Hoan! Everyone's eyes turned red when they saw that Daiheoan was intending to commit suicide. All these years, Daiheoan had been busy with the family's affairs, and he was very close to everyone. At this juncture, Daiheoan was even willing to sacrifice himself for the family. How could they not be moved? However, the more Daiheoan acted like this, the more they could not bear it. Let them go this time. We can't let Hoan lose his life like this. Yes, if we miss this opportunity we will have another chance in the future. How can we exchange our brother's life? At that moment, the Di family and Lin family's cultivators could not help but. They really could not bear of this situation. Seeing Hoan S's eyes of Jun Lingshuan, Jun Lingshuan's Hao, and Jun Lingshuan's eyes. Jun Lingshuan let go of Hoan. We'll let you leave. We'll let you go, Di Xiaofeng sighed, but his ink-black eyes became firm. No matter what, they could not exchange the lives of their clansmen for success. Hearing this, Jun Lingshuan's eyes flashed a trace of complacency. His voice suddenly became loud, get out of the way. We will let him go after we leave here. Are you kidding? Lin Taxing's face was serious and angry. If Hoan leaves with you, you will definitely kill him. You are not qualified to negotiate with me now. Jun Lingshuan's voice was cold and complacent, as if he had everything under control. Chapter 49-42. Hoan, don't be silly. Lin Yi couldn't help but speak up. Her sweet and gentle face was full of concern and relief. There will be plenty of opportunities to deal with them in the future. You guys, Daiheoan's eyes flashed with a trace of crystal, but he suppressed it. His gaze became exceptionally bright and warm. Seeing this, a smile appeared at the corner of everyone's lips. This may indeed be an excellent opportunity lost, but they felt it was worth it to save their loved ones. Don't be long-winded here. We are leaving now. You all stay here and don't move. Whoever dares to move, I will kill him. Jun Lingshuan's gaze was cold and chilling. The dagger in his hand was getting closer to Daiheoan. He pulled Daiheoan and walked forward. Whoever dares to follow, I will kill him immediately. Seeing this, everyone could only stop. Although their hearts were full of unwillingness, they did not dare to follow rashly. They couldn't gamble with Daiheoan's life. With Jun Lingshuan's temper, I'm afraid he won't let Hoan go. What should we do? Lin Yi couldn't help but pace back and forth. She kept rubbing her hands. Her eyebrows were full of worry and anxiety like ants on a hot pan. There is no other way now. Lin Taxing sighed. His determined young face was full of worry. Once we move forward, he will notice our movements. Damn it, I didn't expect Jun Lingshuan to hold Hoan hostage. Di Xiaofeng cursed. He really didn't expect this situation. If he knew this, they wouldn't have acted separately before. Are the other people who acted with Hoan dead? Just when everyone was troubled by this, Mo Yunju suddenly asked a question. Yes. Di Xiaofeng nodded. If we didn't happen to arrive, Hoan would be dead. Mo Yunju's eyes, which were as deep as a black hole, quietly flashed a glimmer of light. In the blink of an eye, he quietly glanced at Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen, but did not say anything. Bailey Hongzhuang naturally understood the meaning of Mo Yunju's words. In fact, when she saw the previous hostage situation, she also had the same doubts in her heart. Wife, do you think there may be something wrong with Hoan? Di Beichen transmitted his voice to Bailey Hongzhuang. When the three of them looked at each other tacitly, he already knew it. Not only him but Hong Zhuang and Mo Yunjue also had the same idea. That's just a guess. Jiao's eyes, which were as beautiful as the autumn moon, were calm. It's just a guess at the moment. I think there is something wrong with Daiheoan's sudden suicide. Mo Yunjue transmitted his voice. This was the D family's family matter, so he shouldn't be involved. However, if there really was a spy, then it was like a tumor that could endanger the safety of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others at any time. I think so too. Bailey Hongzhuang was silent. The biggest turning point in this whole matter was Daiheoan's actions. Originally, everyone had been thinking about making a choice. However, from the moment Daiheoan chose to commit suicide, everyone's hearts were instantly moved by Daiheoan, so they chose to give up. In fact, this matter itself could be Daiheoan's true thoughts. However, they looked at it with suspicion and it was indeed a bit strange. Chapter 49-43. Di Xiaofeng also noticed the slight change in Di Beichen's expression as he waited. He thought about Mo Yunjue's question. As the young master of the Lin family, he had been trained by the elders all these years and was a very observant person. Mo Yunjue's question didn't seem to be a problem at first, but at this time, it seemed a little strange. Therefore he immediately guessed the guesses of Di Beichen and the others. Beichen, you suspect Howen? Di Xiaofeng raised his eyebrows. His black eyes were as bright as the stars, as if they could see through everything. Big brother, what do you think? Di Beichen didn't answer immediately. Instead he asked a question in return. He was different from Di Xiaofeng. Di Xiaofeng had been treating Daiheoan as a good brother all these years. They were close and had a deep relationship. He probably wouldn't think in this direction. However, he had just returned to the family not long ago. Obviously he didn't have such concerns. Di Xiaofeng pondered for a moment. There was hesitation between his brows. It shouldn't be, right? Howen is a disciple of the Di family. Moreover, the family has always treated him well. He shouldn't have done such a thing. Of course we can't be sure just based on this. Ever since the incident with Di Kaiyuan, he knew that you couldn't judge a book by its cover. What you thought wasn't always right. Most of the time, it was the people you trusted the most who deceived you. According to father's judgment, what happened to you was done by the Jun family. Therefore this spy has been hiding in the family for a long time. Howen's age doesn't seem to match. Di Xiaofeng looked at Di Beichen. This was the biggest problem, he thought. Di Beichen's eyes changed. He said in a low voice, "There's no rush. Let's wait and see." Okay. The two brothers looked at each other. For them now, finding the spy was undoubtedly an extremely important matter. As long as this tumor was uprooted, the family would be safe and they would be at ease. A moment later, everyone rushed out, worried about Daiheoan's safety. When everyone arrived, they found Daiheoan lying in a pool of blood, while Jun Lingxuan and the other two were climbing up the abyss. This damn Jun Lingxuan. Lin Taxing cursed aloud. His handsome face turned red and the corners of his eyes almost cracked. His eyebrows were full of volcanic rage. In his line of sight, Daiheoan was stabbed in the chest by Jun Lingxuan's dagger. Blood flowed to the ground, and Daiheoan was clearly unconscious. Hongzhuang, take a look at Hao An's situation, Di Xiaofeng said. Bailey Hongzhuang immediately checked on Daiheoan's situation. Her beautiful brows furrowed, and her expression was somewhat complicated. Hongzhuang, is Hao An incurable? Lin Chanshan's expression was very ugly. She had guessed that such a thing might happen, but when it really happened she still couldn't accept it. After all, she had a good relationship with Daiheoan over the years. Don't worry. His injury is very serious, but he can still be saved. Really? Lin Chanshan was stunned. The dagger has already pierced his heart. Can he still be saved? Young madam, aren't your medical skills too exquisite? Everyone was dumbfounded. Their faces were filled with shock. Everyone knew that once the heart was pierced, it was impossible to survive. Chapter 49-44. Wifey. Di Beichen raised his eyebrows slightly. He noticed the change in Bailey Hongzhuang's expression. He was afraid that there was something wrong. Generally speaking, if a dagger pierced his heart directly, Howen wouldn't be able to survive. However, Howen's heart is in a different position from ours. Because of that, the dagger didn't pierce his heart. Once she said that, everyone finally understood. Their eyes were filled with surprise and joy. I didn't expect Howen to have such a characteristic. Lin Chanshan breathed a sigh of relief. If it wasn't for the deviation, Howen would have died in the hands of Jun Lingxuan. I knew that a despicable and shameless guy like Jun Lingshuan wouldn't keep his word. If Howen wasn't lucky, he would really be finished this time. I think Jun Lingshuan wouldn't have thought that it would end like this. Everyone wanted to chase after Jun Lingshuan. However, looking at the height of the abyss, they thought that by the time they climbed up, Jun Lingshuan and the other two would have escaped in an unknown direction. In the end, they chose to give up. After Bailey Hongzhuang treated Dai Haowen's injuries, Di Beichen, Di Xiaofeng and Mo Yunjue walked to her side. Wifey, what do you think about this matter? I can't make a conclusion about this matter at the moment. Her bright eyes were filled with complexity and thought. Originally she thought that Dai Haowen was a spy. However, what happened later made her somewhat uncertain. It's very likely that Dai Haowen knew that his body was different, so he colluded with Jun Lingshuan and the others. Only in this way would it not arouse suspicion. Mo Yunjue said in a low voice. It's indeed possible. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. However, he hit him very hard. He was only a hair's breadth away from his heart. If there's even the slightest mistake, he'll lose his life. If it's you guys, can you do it? Hearing this, Di Beichen and the other two sunk into silence. In this situation, it was indeed very difficult for them to make a judgment. After a while, Di Beichen said, if he's not a spy, then he's really been thinking for the family. If he really is a spy, then he will be very scary. He would be terrifying. At this point, the hearts of Bailey Hongzhuang and the other two were all shocked. Indeed, if he could even be so ruthless to himself, then he was indeed a ruthless character. He was not someone that ordinary people could deal with. Based on this matter alone, we can't come to a conclusion for the time being. Why don't we take a look first? If it really is a fox, it will show its tail sooner or later. We have to be more careful. Di Xiaofeng's eyes were solemn and serious. No matter who the spy was, he would not show any mercy. This was because he would not tolerate the existence of such a person who would endanger his family. Moreover, this person caused his younger brother to wander outside for so many years. He even almost caused them to lose their lives. Dai Haowen and Ao Lingxiao were both unconscious. The Di family and the Lin family's cultivators were guarding by the side. This was the abyss. Other cultivators could come in at any time. They could only guard here to ensure their safety. Big brother, what's inside? Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled into a faint smile. She was still very curious about this place. Chapter 49-45. Wifey, do you want to go inside and take a look? Di Beichen knew Bailey Hongzhuang very well. He could guess her thoughts even with just a glance. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and nodded. I always feel that this place is very special. I want to go inside and see what's inside. However, since elder brother and the others have gone so far without encountering anyone, the people who used to live here should be gone. Since you want to go and take a look, then let's go in. Di Beichen showed a knowing smile to Bailey Hongzhuang. The mischievous look made his handsome face glow instantly, like the sunshine in March, warm and charming. Yeah, you can go in and take a look. Di Xiaofeng also smiled. Anyway, we won't leave here for a while. It's convenient to go in and take a look. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Di Beichen with bright eyes. Her delicate and beautiful face was full of mischief and excitement. Then, shall we go in? Okay. Di Beichen stretched out his hand and gently scratched Bailey Hongzhuang's delicate nose. His smile became warmer and warmer. Let's go in and take a look too. Lin Qianqian and Lin Taxing also said. Most of the cultivators decided to stay here to guard Dai Haowen and Lin Qianqian. After all, once other cultivators appeared, it was impossible to not have enough people to protect them. Although Lin Yi also wanted to go, she decided to stay here out of guilt for Ao Lingxiao. When Di Xiaofeng saw that both Lin Qianqian and Lin Taxing wanted to go, he also chose to stay here to lead the team. Therefore, only Di Beichen, Bailey Hongzhuang, Mo Yunjue, Lin Qianqian and Lin Taxing went in together. Although there were not many people, their combat power was very strong, so everyone was relieved. The environment inside was still dim. They could only see clearly under the illumination of the light power. Hongzhuang, you are right. Someone should have lived here before. Lin Qianqian noticed that there were a few simple houses nearby, but they were covered in dust. It was obvious that the owner had left many years ago. To be able to build such a room in this abyss, this is really something. Lin Taxing sighed and looked around. In fact, he also wanted to see if there were any other gains after going deeper. However, as the crowd continued onward, they only discovered that the path was incomparably long, and they did not gain anything. This road is really long. How long do we have to walk until we reach the end? Just when everyone felt that this road seemed endless, the environment in front of them suddenly attracted their attention. This is an altar? A circular altar suddenly appeared in everyone's line of sight. Taking a closer look, he realized that half of the altar was black and the other half was white. He could vaguely feel the energy waves coming from the altar. Bailey Hongzhuang immediately discovered that the altar was filled with the two attributes of darkness and light. Suddenly, a trace of surprise appeared in her eyes, but she immediately concealed it. Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang quietly looked at each other. They did not expect such an altar to appear here. It was a combination of these two attributes. It was really strange. Hey, this altar is so strange. It is a combination of light and dark attributes. How can someone make such an altar? Chapter 49-46. Lin Taxing looked curiously at the altar in front of him. The altar covered a large area and he could tell at a glance that it was a big deal. From the exquisite and complicated carvings and the mysterious and ever-changing runes, he could tell that the original owner must have put in a lot of effort to build this altar. I feel that this altar is very impressive. It seems to be more powerful than anything we've seen before. Lin Qianqian nodded slightly. I think so too. This altar looks very impressive. Bailey Hongzhuang did not say anything. Instead, she approached the altar directly. She felt that the altar seemed to have some kind of connection with them. Di Beichen also walked to the other side of the altar. After sensing the aura that was similar to his handsome eyes were filled with surprise. Look, there seems to be a switch at the very front. Mo Yunjue reminded them. Everyone turned their gazes. As expected, there was a mechanism at the very front of the altar. The mechanism also glowed with alternating black and white light. It was like a glass ball with the power of the two attributes of darkness and light lingering in it, emitting extraordinary splendor. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen both pressed the mechanism in tacit agreement. Ka, the sound of the shaft turning was suddenly heard. It seemed that the altar had not been opened for a long time, so it was moving very slowly. However, as time passed, the sound gradually disappeared. The black and white altar began to rotate. Everyone could clearly feel the power of the two attributes of light and darkness filling the altar. Even the space around them was completely covered by these two powers. In a short moment, Bailey Hongzhuang felt an endless amount of power enter her body. The demon summoning scripture was almost out of control, absorbing this pure power. Di Beichen's reaction was no different from Bailey Hongzhuang's. The energy here was undoubtedly a great supplement to them. After absorbing it, it would be very helpful to improve their strength. Mo Yunjue and the other two did not have the light or darkness attributes, so the rich energy here was not of much help to them. Even so, they were still able to feel the pure and shocking origin energy here. The purity of this energy seems to be extremely shocking. Lin Qianqian's eyes widened as her beautiful eyebrows twitched. Her clear eyes were filled with surprise. Lin Taxing nodded. Just standing here and feeling the illumination of the light attribute energy makes me feel comfortable. Even if we can't improve our cultivation, we can still eliminate some of the hidden dangers in our bodies if we stay here longer. This was one of the reasons why so many people sought after the power of light. The power of light had healing properties. Not only could it heal a cultivator's injuries to a certain extent, it could also eliminate some hidden dangers. Just like on the Day of Light every year, cultivators of the light attribute would display the power of light together. At that time, all cultivators yearned for it. How about, we go and call everyone here? Lin Taxing's face was full of excitement. They could not enjoy such a good opportunity by themselves. Lin Qianqian nodded. Good idea. However, at this moment, Xiao He and Xiao Bai, who were lying on White Lion's body, were suddenly attracted by a mysterious force and floated directly to the altar. Chapter 49-47. What's going on with Xiao He and Xiao Bai? Lin Qianqian was dumbfounded. This sudden turn of events was simply too shocking. Hongzhuang, are they going to be all right? Lin Taxing looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. His handsome face was filled with worry and concern. The opening of the altar had already shocked them greatly. Now that this inexplicable turn of events had occurred, they could not help but feel anxious. Bailey Hongzhuang was equally shocked by this sudden turn of events. She immediately tried to pull Xiao He and Xiao Bai back. However, she noticed that Xiao He and Xiao Bai's bodies were hovering above the altar. The power of darkness and light had enveloped them. It did not seem to have any intention of harming them. Only then did she calm down. In her line of sight, Xiaohe was enveloped by the power of light while Xiaobai was enveloped by the power of darkness. The two enormous forces formed two brightly colored spheres. As the energy increased, the crowd could no longer see Xiaohe and Xiaobai's faces clearly. They should be fine. Bailey Hongzhuang's red lips parted slightly. Her eyes were still fixed on the two spheres of light. She understood that this extremely pure energy did not have any harm or attack power. Therefore, this situation would only benefit Little Black and Little White, and there would not be any harm. Di Beichen was also carefully observing everything. He could vaguely sense that the altar itself seemed to have a certain connection with Xiaohe and Xiaobai. This was because the setup here was simply too similar to their situation. At this moment, Bai Long's voice suddenly rang out in Bailey Hongzhuang's mind. Hongzhuang, I remember now. Bai Long's pleasant voice was filled with unconcealable excitement. She even began to tremble with excitement. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes lit up when she heard this. Bai Long, what have you remembered? All this time, Bai Long had been in a state of amnesia. Because her past memories were sealed, she could not remember many things. During this period of time, the White Dragon had been troubled by this matter. In fact, Bailey Hongzhuang also hoped that the White Dragon would be able to recall everything as soon as possible because only then would she be able to find out the origins of Xiaohe and Xiaobai. The Black Light Spirit and the White Light Spirit, they were created here. The White Dragon's voice sounded distant and complicated. There was a hint of realization, but more than that, confusion. What did you say? Bailey Hongzhuang was stunned. Her exquisite and otherworldly face was filled with astonishment. Her slightly parted red lips were so shocked that she forgot to close them. They were created here? Not bad. The White Dragon's voice was very certain. The Black Light Spirit and the White Light Spirit are unique existences in this world. They were born here at the altar. I seem to have known them before. The White Dragon's voice began to sound uncertain again. Yeah, why do I know them? Why is that? I have to think about it. Bai Long's voice disappeared as soon as she finished speaking. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang did not pursue the matter. She understood that even if Bai Long remembered something, her sealed memories could not be completely recovered immediately. If she pursued the matter, it would only worsen Bai Long's situation. At this moment, it was already very difficult for Bai Long to remember something. What? Di Beichen's eyes were as black as ink. They shone like obsidian as he asked Bailey Hongzhuang silently. Chapter 49-48. Bailey Hongzhuang's voice was gentle and clear. When she spoke again, she was no longer as shocked as before. Instead, she was much calmer. In fact, she already had an indescribable feeling when she saw the altar. Although the White Dragon's words were very shocking, they did not raise any suspicions. A trace of astonishment flashed across Di Beichen's black eyes. Then he calmed down again. His eyes were as calm as the deep ocean. If Xiaohe and Xiaobai were created here, then this altar should be very beneficial to them. Doesn't this mean that the owner of this abyss is Xiaohe and Xiaobai's previous owner? Di Beichen had connected all the dots in a short period of time. Xiaohe and Xiaobai had been staying in the Chaos Ring. If all of this is connected, then Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze turned deep and serene. Just as Di Beichen had said, connecting all the dots was indeed rather complicated. She seemed to have a feeling that everything was predestined because all of these things were really coincidental. The Chaos Ring, Xiaohe, Xiaobai. Bailey Hongzhuang mumbled to herself. Her eyes suddenly became clear. What I've received is the inheritance of the original owner. Di Beichen nodded when he heard this. That's right. This is the only way to explain all of this. The Chaos Ring is so powerful. The owner who created it must be an extremely powerful existence. Bailey Hongzhuang's heart was filled with reverence at this moment. Ever since she had entered this abyss, she had always felt a sense of reverence and familiarity in her heart. At this moment she finally understood that this was the real reason. As Xiaohe and Xiaobai's bodies were completely enveloped, they finally formed two gigantic spheres. Then the two spheres' powers began to merge. More powers appeared in the altar, enveloping Xiaohe and Xiaobai as one. Black and white powers intertwined, forming a state of, you are me and you are me. Lin Qianqian and the others watched this scene in confusion and curiosity. They did not expect this sudden discovery to cause Xiaohe and Xiaobai to undergo such changes. Didn't they say that the light and dark attributes are incompatible? What's going on? Lin Qianqian's head was filled with questions. This situation was beyond her understanding. Perhaps our understanding has always been wrong. Actually, the power of darkness and light power are not mutually exclusive, Lin Taxing said in deep thought. Mo Yunjue just stared fixedly at the changes in Xiaohei and Xiaobai. His deep black eyes were filled with waves of light as dazzling as the stars. After Xiaohei and Xiaobai are baptized by this altar, they might have a great improvement. It's even possible that they have two different attributes. He also had some understanding of Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang's situation. When he first learned of this, he was a little surprised. However, now that he linked Xiaohei and Xiaobai's situation together, he guessed this possibility. Perhaps it was because many miraculous things had happened around him, but he did not find it strange. Hearing Mo Yunjue's words, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen's eyes flashed. If this was really the case, then it was really good news. Now with this altar, the recovery speed is greatly accelerated. Lin Yi couldn't help but look at Ao Lingxiao and Dai Heoan, who were still in a coma. It's a pity that they don't have light or dark attributes. Otherwise, with this altar they may be able to recover quickly. Listening to Lin Yi's words, Lin Taxing couldn't help but chuckle. Yi, you don't have to worry too much. With Hongzhuang here they will be fine. Moreover, with the influence of this light power, it is also good for them. Lin Yi nodded. I believe in second cousin-in-law's medical skills, but I feel a little guilty. Chapter 49-50. 3 days later, the energy surrounding Xiaohei and Xiaobai finally dissipated. Master. Xiaohei and Xiaobai rushed to Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen as soon as they left the altar. Their chubby little faces were filled with bright smiles, as warm and dazzling as sunflowers. Xiaohei. Bailey Hongzhuang's face bloomed with an incomparably joyful smile. She reached out and pulled Xiaohei into her arms. She felt a sense of satisfaction when she felt the warm and fuzzy sensation. If Xiaobai had not appeared at that time, she would probably never have seen Xiaohei again. This feeling of regaining what she had lost made her unable to control herself. Master. Xiaohei smiled brightly, but her eyes were glistening. I was so worried that I would never see you again. If you're worried about this, then don't do such foolish things again. Bailey Hongzhuang rubbed Xiaohei's head. No matter what, don't even think about leaving me. You can only follow me for the rest of your life. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's domineering and heartless words, Xiaohei's eyes became moist. Sparkling tears flowed down uncontrollably, but the smile on her face became even more radiant. That's right. Xiaohei will follow Master for the rest of her life. Bailey Hongzhuang turned to look at Xiaobai. Xiaobai's personality was much calmer than Xiaohei's. Moreover, Di Beichen was a man, so he naturally would not be so emotional. However, she could still feel his strong warmth. Xiaobai. Bailey Hongzhuang carried Xiaobai over. Both of you must take care of yourselves in the future. Xiaobai smiled and nodded. She rubbed her head against Bailey Hongzhuang and said, Mistress, it's good to see you again. White Lion also came over. When he saw Xiaohei and Xiaobai jumping around, he knew that they were fine. He immediately said with a smile, You're finally fine. I'm dying of exhaustion from carrying the two of you every day. Xiaohei and Xiaobai exchanged glances when they heard Bai Shi's disdainful words. Xiaohei immediately leaped onto Bai Shi and rolled around on him. She said, Bai Shi, stop being so stubborn. I remember the situation clearly. Who was the one who was so emotional at that time? It's no use pretending to be disgusted now. Haha, White Lion, I just realized how much you care about me. Xiaohei chuckled, looking full of pride. But I'm so charming. It's normal for you to like me. Looking at Xiaohei and Xiaobai's smug looks, White Lion suddenly rolled his eyes. You two should go to sleep. No. Xiaohei shook her head. It's too late. Come on. Let me kiss you. Ah. Master. White Lion cast a pleading look at Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang just smiled and spread her hands, giving him a good luck expression. She knew very well that White Lion just didn't like to express it on the surface. In fact, his feelings for Xiaohei and Xiaobai were really deep. After Lin Yi and others saw that Xiaohei and Xiaobai had completely recovered, their faces showed joy. They woke up. That's great. Lin Yi walked over quickly. She had always been envious of Bailey Hongzhuang's contract beasts. Not to mention the strength of these three contracted beasts, just their appearance alone was more than just a little cute. Their furry appearance directly melted her maiden heart. Chapter 49-51. Xiao He and Xiao Bai also looked at Lin Yi with a smile. Lin Yi looked at the two beasts. After a moment of concern, she sat down beside Baisher habitually. Baisher, we haven't seen each other for a while. Did you miss me? Lin Yi reached out and touched Baisher's soft and smooth hair. She only thought that it felt really good. It must be very comfortable to sleep with it. Baisher just looked at Lin Yi calmly. There was a trace of helplessness in the depths of his eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but look at Di Beichen when she saw this. She transmitted her voice, I'm really looking forward to Yi's reaction after Baisher turns into a human. I'm also looking forward to it. Di Beichen's lips curled into a playful arc. He looked at Lin Yi with a spurious smile, I'm very willing to watch the show with my wife. Bailey Hongzhuang narrowed her eyes, you are so bad. I learned from my wife. I'm influenced by my company. Di Beichen nodded very naturally. Nonsense. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes widened, I obviously learned from you. Okay, whatever my wife says. Di Beichen nodded with an expression that said, you are willful and mischievous but I love you so much. Then he said, this is called influenced by the company one keeps. You? Bailey Hongzhuang puffed up her cheeks. Facing such a talkative husband, she still had to think about how to deal with it. However, the bickering appearance of the two was a show of affection in the eyes of everyone. You too, aren't you embarrassed to show affection so blatantly in broad daylight? Di Xiaofeng raised his eyebrows and said to everyone, look, these two guys are obviously deliberately provoking us, a group of bachelors. As soon as these words came out, all the cultivators present also nodded, yeah, they are so bad. Punishment, punishment. He must be punished. Lin Taxing walked to Di Beichen's side and said, we've been in the Immortal Cloud secret realm for a long time and haven't eaten anything. It's boring. Why don't we leave dinner to Beichen and the others? I've heard that Hongzhuang's culinary skills are amazing. I've been drooling for a long time. Lin Chanchan's eyes lit up. You don't know, but Xiaofeng praised Hongzhuang's culinary skills to the skies. I really want to try it. What do you think of my proposal? Lin Taxing smiled brightly. It's a good opportunity to celebrate the recovery of Xiao He and Xiao Bai. All right. After going through so many things together, everyone had already become very close. Even if they were to cause a ruckus at this moment, it was still filled with joy and laughter. Seeing this, Di Beichen turned to look at Bailey Hongzhuang and said innocently, wife, this has aroused public indignation. Bailey Hongzhuang laughed involuntarily and said, well, just enough to satisfy the two gluttons Xiao He and Xiao Bai. Hooray. Xiao He and Xiao Bai smiled and squinted their eyes like crescent moons. Their round faces looked even cuter, making people want to pinch them hard. In fact, Lin Yi and Lin Chanchan did just that. After making the decision, Bailey Hongzhuang began to prepare dinner. Although everyone joked about letting Bailey Hongzhuang and Xiao Bai prepare, in the end, it was still a group of women who did the preparations. After such a commotion, the haze that lingered in everyone's hearts these days had completely dissipated. Even though they had already escaped from the ruins, the lingering fear was still obvious. Chapter 4952. The meal cooked by Bailey Hongzhuang was naturally delicious. Even if there were not enough ingredients, the taste was still excellent. For a time, everyone was also full of praise. Ao Lingxiao, who was in a coma, only smelled a strong fragrance, then he slowly opened his eyes. When he saw that everyone had gathered together and was eating, his expression was a little confused at first. Then he understood and his eyes lit up. Lin Yi was naturally the first person to notice Ao Lingxiao's awakening. Her pretty face was full of surprise, and she quickly went to Ao Lingxiao's side. Ao Lingxiao, are you awake? How do you feel? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Facing Lin Yi's series of concerns and questions, Ao Lingxiao was still a little confused. He just nodded in a daze as if he didn't understand why Lin Yi would care so much about him. I'm much better. Hearing this, Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief, then I'm relieved. Bailey Hongzhuang and others noticed Ao Lingxiao's blank look after waking up. They suddenly found it very interesting. Lingxiao, I heard from Yi that you suffered such serious injuries in order to save her. I thank you on behalf of Yi. Lin Taxing stood up. His eyes were sincere and magnanimous. In the future, your business is our business. Yes, if it weren't for Yi this time, you wouldn't have suffered such serious injuries. We all had some misunderstandings about you before, but we now understand your character. We will definitely unite with you for the Ao family's matter. Lin Chanchan's voice was crisp and heroic. She looked like a heroine. Ao Lingxiao obviously didn't expect that everyone's attitude toward him would change so much after he woke up. He was a little stunned, but he was more surprised. Thinking back to the time when they were on the flying artifact, although everyone protected him, it was because of Di Beichen's face. In fact, their hearts were full of doubts about him. However, looking at everyone's expression at this moment, he knew that everyone really recognized him from the bottom of their hearts. This was what made him the happiest. Actually, Ao Jun Kwang came for me. It's just that Miss Lin was implicated. I should feel sorry. Ao Ling Xiao said with an apologetic expression. Lin Yi waved her hand quickly. If I wasn't discovered by them, you could have kept running. Anyway, your business will be my business in the future. Ao Ling Xiao looked at Lin Yi in a daze. He wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. Seeing this, Di Beichen couldn't help but smile. Ling Xiao, it's normal for Yi to want to repay your kindness. Don't reject her. After all, we're teammates. Lin Yi nodded, yes. Alright then. Ao Ling Xiao finally relented. Bailey Hongzhuang walked to Ao Ling Xiao's side and placed her white fingers on his wrist. After checking his pulse, she said, your body is very weak. Although you've gotten better after taking the pill, your injuries are too serious. It's still very inconvenient for you to move for a while. During this time we will stay here for the time being. You should recuperate well. Isn't that delaying everyone? Ao Ling Xiao was nervous. Actually, you don't have to worry about me. If I delay you, I will feel sorry. Don't think so much. Di Beichen waved his hand. Since everyone is teammates, it's natural to take care of each other. Chapter 49-53. That's right. Just focus on recuperating. In an instant, the cultivators from both the Di clan and the Lin clan told Ao Ling Xiao to relax. This kind of warmth and care made Ao Ling Xiao feel an indescribable feeling in his heart. It was so warm that his eyes felt a little sour. He thought that he was going to die this time and would never have the chance to take revenge. He didn't expect that not only would he survive, but there would also be so many people who understood him. Ever since he was accused of a groundless crime, he had become a scum that everyone despised. Now, there were so many people who understood him. This feeling was undoubtedly very joyous. Compared to anything else, understanding was what he needed the most. "Oh right, Ling Xiao. Did you see Xiren and Ying Ying on your way here?" Di Beichen asked. Until now they still didn't have any news about Xiren and Ying Ying. Ao Ling Xiao shook his head. No. I didn't meet many cultivators on my way here. I didn't know most of them. Plus, I was worried that the Ao family would catch up with me, so I was very careful and avoided the crowd. Understood. Di Beichen understood. You must have been tired during this period. Rest well. When we get out, you won't have to hide like before. Hearing this, Ao Ling Xiao looked deeply at Di Beichen. A trace of clarity appeared between his eyebrows. It was as if the haze that had been hanging over him for such a long time was finally dispelled by the sun. His entire person became bright and beautiful. It's all thanks to you guys. After everyone started to rest, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen looked at Xiao He and Xiao Bai. However, before they could ask, Xiao He and Xiao Bai quickly explained. Master, we finally remembered something. It turns out that we forgot a lot of things. Xiao He's eyes shone with excitement. This is actually our original master's residence. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes lit up. So it's really like this? Master, why do you seem to have known all along? Xiao Bai was a little surprised. They hadn't said anything before. The White Dragon has already told me. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. The White Dragon said that it knew you before, and you were created here by your former master. I see. A smile appeared on Xiao He's face. However, we haven't recalled everything yet. We only know a part of it. Only by finding the inheritance of the original owner will we be able to recall everything. The legacy of the original owner? Di Beichen frowned. Is this just a residence? That's right, Xiao Bai replied. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang took out the black stone and said, Do you know what this is? Ever since the last time she went to the Light Attribute Ruins, she had always felt that it was very strange. She didn't understand why the stone had some connection with the ruins, but then it wasn't completely connected. This is the key to the legacy of the original owner, Xiao Bai said with a smile. Then why did we sense it when we were there? We're not too sure about this. It seems that the ruins are also related to the original owner, but we're not too sure what the connection is. Xiao He spread out her hands. Her expression was full of helplessness. Chapter 49-54. Is your master the same person? Di Beichen suddenly asked. His deep eyes flashed with a bright luster, revealing wisdom and sincerity. They should be two people, right? Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Di Beichen in astonishment, not understanding why Di Beichen would ask such a question. Master, you're so smart. Xiao Bai looked at Di Beichen in amazement. That's right, we have two masters. After receiving this confirmation, Di Beichen nodded and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang's puzzled eyes and explained. Previously, I also thought that Xiao He and Xiao Bai only have one master. However, ever since Xiao Bai acknowledged me as her master, I don't think that's the case. If there's only one master, they won't acknowledge two masters separately. Furthermore, this place is filled with the aura of light and darkness, which means that these two masters have these two attributes respectively. Furthermore, they should be a pair of lovers. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes lit up when she heard this. Now that you've analyzed it, everything can be linked together. However, I'm reminded of your master. I also have the same guess. Di Beichen gave her a knowing look. If that's really the case, then it's really predestined. Master, the one you met in the lower realm was the male master. Xiao Bai looked at Di Beichen. The reason why I acknowledged you as my master is also because you've received the male master's approval. As expected, Di Beichen was secretly surprised. He didn't think that everything had so much to do with each other. It was just that they didn't think too much about it in the past. Indeed, everything is predestined. Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly understood and said, could it be that your mistress was the former Holy Maiden of Light? According to what she knew, the Holy Maiden of Light had not appeared for many years. Ever since the disappearance of the previous generation's saintess, the light inheritance had been affected. Most of the inheritance had disappeared, so even though the influence of the Light Sacred Assembly was still there, its strength was not as strong as before. The power of light was praised, but the power of darkness was rejected by everyone. Who would have thought that two people with completely different statuses would actually fall in love with each other? Just thinking about it, one could understand how tragic the situation was at that time. For a time, Bailey Hongzhuang also understood why they chose to live in this abyss. Although the environment of the abyss was dark and did not suit their liking, it should be a place full of love for them. At the very least, in this place they were able to let go of everything and be with each other. That's right. A hint of sadness flashed across Xiao Hei's eyes. The two original owners had a difficult life back then. In the end, they couldn't live together. Bailey Hongzhuang sighed faintly. Her mind suddenly recalled the ill-fated relationship that her male master had mentioned when she first met him in the training grounds. At that time, she didn't understand why he had said those words. Until now, she suddenly understood. Thinking about it, He Shinjun must have been extremely shocked when he saw that she was a light attribute cultivator. It felt as if their situation had happened again. Chapter 49-55. Even after so many years, the dark attribute was still rejected by everyone. The situation did not change. Thinking back, when his master gave him this important task, he knew that it would not be easy to change everyone's opinion. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and shook her head. Her delicate face was filled with confidence and charming brilliance. I am not the saintess of light. This kind of thing will not happen to us. Moreover, even if I am, so what? Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows and her lips curved into a mischievous smile. With her character, she always did whatever she wanted to do. Since when was she restrained by others? Even if she became the saintess of light, those people would not be able to control her. Therefore, she did not think that this was an ill-fated relationship. Instead, she thought that this was an opportunity. Perhaps the heavens felt that it was unfair for the two original owners. That was why everything happened again. It was to let everyone understand that what they did in the past was wrong. We will help them fulfill their wishes. Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's confident look, Di Beichen's eyes were filled with splendor. His heart was filled with joy. At the next moment, he held Bailey Hongzhuang's little hand tightly. The smile on his lips became brighter and brighter. That's right. We will change everyone's opinion. Bailey Hongzhuang stared at Di Beichen. Her eyes were serious and clear. No matter what, you can't let go of my hand. Wife, even if you want to escape, I will not give you the chance. You can only stay by my side. Di Beichen's eyes suddenly became affectionate. After being together with Bailey Hongzhuang for so long, they had experienced too much. There was nothing that could separate them anymore. The four beasts saw their two masters showing off their affection and quietly left. At this time, it was better to let their two masters be alone. Although Xiao He and Xiao Bai did not continue to stay in the altar, the energy here was still very beneficial to everyone. With the help of the dense elemental energy, Bailey Hongzhuang successfully broke through another level, reaching Starlight Realm level 9. This improvement made her extremely happy. If it were any other time, it would have taken her a long time to break through to level 3. However, she had only been in the Immortal Cloud Secret Realm for a short period of time, yet she had already improved so much. Although the risks were not small, her improvement was simply too fast. Di Beichen's cultivation had also improved. Needless to say, Xiao He and Xiao Bai's cultivation had improved greatly when they were in the altar. They were no longer the same as before. The White Lion wanted to break through to the Nebula Realm and transform into a human form. However, to a demonic beast, breaking through to the Nebula Realm was a hurdle in itself. Therefore, he was the only one who had yet to break through. However, White Lion was still full of confidence because he knew very well that that day was not far away. After Daiheoan woke up, Di Beichen and the others only asked a few questions and did not say much, because no matter how Daiheoan answered, it was not important to them. If they wanted to determine the truth, they would have to discover it themselves. Ao Lingxiao and Daiheoan recovered very quickly under Bailey Hongzhuang's treatment. After staying for 10 days, they were already able to move. Staying in the Immortal Cloud Secret Realm meant that they might encounter new opportunities every day. Naturally, no one was willing to stay in this abyss forever. Chapter 4956. Even if Ao Lingxiao and Lin Yi's injuries were not fully healed, it was nothing to slow down their movement speed. However, everyone still took good care of them. After everyone left the abyss, they continued to move forward. Bailey Hongzhuang deliberately went in the direction pointed by the stone. This Immortal Cloud Secret Realm only opened once every 10 years. Once they missed this opportunity, they would have to wait for another 10 years to come again. Therefore, she had to find it this time. According to Xiao He and Xiao Bai, the former identities of the two original owners were very unusual. Their inheritance did not seem to be as simple as the inheritance they encountered on ordinary days. However, they had to find out all this by themselves. After walking for 3 days, everyone did not find any figure. They felt a little helpless. In this regard, everyone also understood that the location of this abyss was not far from the original light ruins. In addition, they had stayed down for 10 days. Presumably, most of the cultivators were already far away from here. I'm the one who dragged you all down. Ao Lingxiao naturally felt the helplessness in the hearts of many cultivators, and he felt apologetic. If it weren't for him, everyone would not encounter such a thing in the abyss. Naturally, they would not be delayed for so long. Lingxiao, don't think so much. Di Beichen said slowly, we have gained enough under the abyss. Ao Lingxiao raised his head and saw Di Beichen's eyes were bright and spirited. His warm words unconsciously gave people a sense of relief. Yeah, I'm the one who dragged you down. If you feel so guilty, what should I do? Lin Yi smiled and looked at everyone apologetically. I'm the one who dragged everyone down. We're a family. Don't be so polite. Di Xiaofeng chuckled. Beichen is right. Think about those immortal spirit grass. What's the point of wasting some time? As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere suddenly became lively again. The previous worries were swept away. Indeed, the immortal spirit grass they harvested was enough to offset everything. Daiheoan's eyes dimmed. My storage ring was snatched away by Jun Lingxuan. It's expected. Hoan, don't think too much about it. Di Xiaofeng comforted. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen looked at each other. This was within their expectations. No matter who it was, after killing someone they would definitely take the other person's storage ring. After all, the cultivators who appeared in the Immortal Cloud Secret Realm were all of high status. Even if they could not obtain the inheritance of the other party's clan, they would still be able to obtain the benefits that the other party obtained in the Immortal Cloud Secret Realm. It was just that once the seed of doubt was planted in their hearts, they would think more about it. Back when we got the immortal herbs, we should have kept all of them, Di Xiaofeng sighed. Daiheoan also picked quite a few immortal herbs. At the thought of these immortal herbs falling into Jun Lingxuan's hands, he felt a wave of displeasure. One had to know that the effects of this immortal spirit grass were not small. Even if it was only a single stalk, it could be refined into a pill that would be of great help to the clan's disciples. He would rather these immortal herbs fall into the hands of others than to benefit Jun Lingxuan. Looking at Di Xiaofeng's depressed look, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and said, Big brother, don't be too depressed. Chapter 4957. As Bailey Hongzhuang finished speaking, Di Xiaofeng was stunned for a moment before he smiled. Sister-in-law, your logic is right. Now that I think about it, I feel much better. As long as we are still in the immortal cloud secret realm, we still have a chance to take back the immortal spiritual herb. Ao Lingxiao also looked at Bailey Hongzhuang gratefully. He didn't expect that the other party would give the credit to him. In the next few days they did not meet anyone. However, Ao Lingxiao and Dai Haoan had completely recovered their mobility during this period of time and were no longer affected by the immortal spiritual herb. On this day they finally met the cultivators of the other teams. When they saw Bailey Hongzhuang and the others, a trace of surprise appeared in their eyes. Then it turned into joy and desire. Di Xiaofeng originally wanted to greet the other party, but the other party directly avoided him and continued to follow them at a distance not far from them. After meeting the first group of people, Di Beichen and the others already felt that it was very strange. Then they met a few more teams and found that these teams had the same reaction. They immediately felt that something was wrong. Xiaofeng, why do I feel that everyone is looking at us strangely? They seem to be whispering something but I can't hear them clearly. Lin Qianqian frowned. She hated this kind of situation the most. It was as if everyone knew what was going on, but she was the only one in the dark. I also feel that the reactions of these teams are very strange. Also, didn't you notice that they have been following us? Lin Taxing's expression was grave and serious. His intuition told him that something must have happened. Otherwise, everyone would not have such a reaction. I noticed it too. I wanted to go to them to find out more, but when I got close they retreated a distance away. Di Xiaofeng's expression was very ugly. He had already noticed the situation and wanted to find out more, but the other party did not give him a chance. Xiaobai, go and find out. Di Beichen said. Xiao He and Xiaobai were the best at gathering information. However, Xiao He had been discovered the last time she went to gather information. Presumably, she still had lingering fears, so Di Beichen decided to send Xiaobai over. Master, I'll go with Xiaobai. Xiao He saw Bailey Hongzhuang. Don't worry, we'll be careful this time. Last time, it was careless and fell into Jun Lingxuan's trap. But this time it wouldn't be the same. Seeing Xiao He's confident look, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and nodded. Go ahead. In the next second, Xiao He and Xiaobai shrank their bodies and slowly moved closer. At the same time, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others sat down to rest. Anyway, they understood that as long as they did not leave, the other teams would not leave either. At this time, they paid attention to the other teams and could also distract them, preventing Xiao He and Xiaobai from being noticed. Do you think Jun Lingxuan's news is true? Do they really have immortal spirit herbs? I think Jun Lingxuan was very serious when he said it. It didn't seem like he was lying. It's just that Di Xiaofeng and the others don't seem to know what happened. Chapter 4958. Xiao He and Xiaobai's faces turned ugly when they heard the crowd's conversation. They never thought that Jun Lingxuan would be so shameless that he would use such an evil move. After circling around the three teams, they realized that each team was following them because of this matter. Bailey Hongzhuang kept guessing the reason why the crowd was following them. When Xiao He and Xiaobai returned, the crowd hurriedly asked, "Did you find out?" "Master, that Jun Lingxuan is simply too despicable." Xiao He's face was filled with hatred, wishing that she could crush Jun Lingxuan into meat paste. He's spreading the news that we have immortal spiritual herbs on us. These people are all after the immortal spiritual herbs. I knew it would be like this. Di Xiaofeng could not help but stomp his foot. His handsome face was filled with anger. This guy obviously knows that he can't beat us, so he wants to get others to do it for him. He's truly despicable and shameless. Then what should we do? The temptation of immortal spiritual herbs is simply too great. Ordinary cultivators can't resist it at all. Look at how these people have been following us. They definitely won't give up. Lin Qianqian could not help but feel anxious. She was all too clear about the attraction of immortal spiritual herbs. No matter which cultivator it was, they all hoped that their aptitude would be raised. An increase in aptitude was much more attractive than an increase in strength. This was because once one's aptitude was raised, it meant that there would be more room for improvement in the future. It also meant that there were endless possibilities. Hence, even if an immortal spiritual herb appeared on a normal day, it would cause everyone to fight over it. Furthermore, it was obvious that Jun Lingxuan would definitely exaggerate the number of immortal spiritual herbs in order to get everyone to gang up on him. After Bailey Hongzhuang heard this news, a trace of haze appeared on her fair face. It was not that she had never encountered such a method before, but she had to admit that this method was extremely effective. The number of cultivators that the Jun family brought into the immortal cloud secret realm could not be compared to theirs. Even if the Shao family and the Ao family were included, the number still could not be compared. Therefore this method was the most helpful to them. It seems that this matter is indeed a little tricky. Bailey Hongzhuang's face darkened slightly as she looked up at Di Beichen. We have to think of a way. Di Beichen nodded slightly. The most important thing for us now is to figure out how Jun Lingxuan spread the news. Only when we know his specific statement can we come up with a rebuttal. In my opinion, we should first think of a way to shake off these three teams. With them following us, our whereabouts will soon be known by others. The reason why they haven't made a move until now must be because there is still a certain gap in numbers between us. They don't have enough confidence. But once they outnumber us, it will be time for them to make a move. We can't just sit here and wait to be surrounded. Mo Yunjue suddenly spoke. As the young master of the heaven-devouring pavilion, he had experienced this kind of thing many times. For now, the most important thing was to shake off these spies. Hearing Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue's words, everyone nodded. This was indeed the most important thing for them to solve at the moment. Then let's shake these guys off first. After finding a safe place to stay, we will think of a way. Chapter 49-59. After making the decision, the group didn't delay and immediately started to move. Obviously, directly leaving wouldn't work. These people would try to find a way to follow them and they couldn't get rid of them. Thinking about this, Di Xiaofeng led the group and pretended to talk to them to get information. When the other party saw Di Xiaofeng approaching, they all frowned. Before they had enough strength, they obviously didn't want to fight with the Di family. Therefore, the first thing they wanted to do was retreat and leave. However, Di Xiaofeng obviously didn't plan on letting them leave. He immediately sped up and chased after them. Are you disciples of the Cloud Sky sect? Di Xiaofeng's face had a warm and polite smile. The sun shined on his body, making him look even more charming. Yes, I am Qiu Baixin of the Cloud Sky sect. Qiu Baixin's face had a flash of awkwardness, but he quickly recovered. So it's young Master Qiu. Di Xiaofeng's smile became warmer. I have something to ask young Master Qiu. I hope young Master Qiu can tell me. Young Master Di, please speak. These days, I've noticed that you've been keeping a certain distance from us, but you don't want to travel with us. Why is that? Although he already knew, Di Xiaofeng's face was still full of doubts. Qiu Baixin froze for a moment, then smiled. Actually, I have always admired young Master Di. It's rare to meet young Master Di, so I wanted to take this opportunity to get close to Yifan. It's just that I'm naturally shy, so I'm acting like this. I hope young Master Di won't laugh at me. Listening to the other party's lies, Di Xiaofeng could only pretend to be surprised. It's my honor to meet young Master Qiu. Di Xiaofeng's smile was like the sun. In just a few words, he had already closed the distance between the two sides. Just a few words of praise made Qiu Baixin extremely happy. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Xiaoqing looked at each other and smiled. They had to admit that Di Xiaofeng's skills in this area were extremely good. Just when Qiu Baixin and the others let down their guard, Di Xiaofeng said, Young Master Qiu, I want to ask you something. Have you met Jun Lingxuan and the others? The moment those words came out, all the cultivators of the Cloud Sky sect were stunned. Qiu Baixin's eyes flashed with cunning. He didn't answer Di Xiaofeng's question right away but asked, Why does young Master Di want to see them? I'm sure that young Master Qiu is already aware of the grudges between us and the Jun family. To be honest, we had a conflict with them a while ago. With that, Di Xiaofeng sighed again. Jun Lingxuan is really despicable. He kidnapped my family's disciples and took away our things. Naturally, we have to get them back. When the Cloud Sky sect disciples heard the word thing, their eyes lit up. Young Master Di, may I know what you were talking about? Qiu Baixin asked. It's just something we got from the Celestial Cloud Secret Realm. Di Xiaofeng faintly smiled and purposely changed the topic. He clearly didn't want to talk about what it was. Seeing how Di Xiaofeng was trying to cover it up, Qiu Baixin was even more convinced. He immediately asked, May I know what young Master Di is talking about? Is it the immortal spirit grass? Chapter 49-60. A variety of expressions appeared on Di Xiaofeng's face. Shock, doubt, disbelief. In the end, he just stared blankly at Qiu Baixin. Clearly he had not thought of how to answer. After seeing Di Xiaofeng's expression, the cultivators of the Cloud Sky sect no longer had any doubts. They really did have the immortal spirit grass. How did you know? Di Xiaofeng couldn't help but ask. Qiu Baixin and the others looked at each other and finally said, "Young Master Di, to be honest, Jun Lingxuan has already spread the news that you have the immortal spirit grass. Now, many teams already know about this and are thinking of coming to find you." However, after hearing this, Di Xiaofeng's face suddenly became angry. "What did you say? Jun Lingxuan is actually making false accusations. Young Master Di, since things have already come to this, you don't have to pretend anymore." Qiu Baixin glanced at Di Xiaofeng. It was obvious that he had already confirmed the truth. "I'm sure that most cultivators already know about this. I advise you to make early plans." "Young Master Qiu, I'm not pretending." Di Xiaofeng's expression became serious and serious. "Indeed, we did get the immortal spirit grass before. However, the immortal spirit grass has already fallen into Jun Lingxuan's hands. Now, we want to find Jun Lingxuan to get the immortal spirit grass back. I didn't expect him to slander us." "That's right, Jun Lingxuan is too despicable. How can he be so despicable?" Lin Chanshan's face was also filled with indignation. "I already knew that Jun Lingxuan wasn't a good person. I didn't expect him to spread the news of the immortal spirit grass. He is really thoughtful." Lin Taxing coldly snorted, "I'm afraid we can't explain ourselves in this situation." Seeing the angry expressions of the cultivators of the Di family and Lin family, the people of the Cloud Sky sect didn't take it to heart. After all, no matter who had such a treasure, they wouldn't be willing to let others know. It was normal for them to put on an act. Di Xiaofeng also saw that the other party didn't believe him and immediately said, "Don't you believe us? Young Master Di, it's not that we don't believe you, but we have to show some evidence." Qiu Baixin had a faint smile on his face. His expression was calm and his meaning was obvious. "Of course we have evidence." Di Xiaofeng's expression was serious, with a hint of unwillingness and anger. He continued, "Presumably, the reason why those teams have been following us these days is also because of this, right? Why don't we invite them here and talk about this?" Qiu Baixin and the others were surprised when they saw Di Xiaofeng's serious expression. Logically speaking, Di Xiaofeng shouldn't be able to defend himself. Why did it seem like he really had evidence? "Young Master Di, you have to think this through. If you really think this way, then I'll ask the cultivators from those teams to come here together. Go and look for them. If I don't make things clear today, I won't be happy." Di Xiaofeng's face was full of anger. "This Jun Lingxuan has slandered me countless times over the years. This time, I won't let him slander me again." You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.